Computed! Salud! Welcome to the Amped Up Podcast for Monday, June the 5th, 2023. Hopefully you guys crushed your weekend and remained amplified through its entirety, because we are going to remain amplified throughout this podcast's entirety. Make no mistake, this Amped Up Podcast is packed, stacked, and jacked. We are going to have the long overdue discussion of Roman Reigns and where he stands in the pro wrestling world. He's once again a part of some polarizing conversations, and it's not all too positive. It's almost like we went back in time before he turned heel, where a lot of fans were just nauseous by him in the ring. A lot of fans just felt, all right, it's too much, it's beyond stale, his push is laughable, if not tragic. And then there's fans that are saying, hey, that's your problem. Either get on the Roman Express or get off on the highway and start thumbing a ride back home. Because this is GOAT conversation, the greatest of all time. Where the detractors, the people that have had enough of Roman, they're saying, yeah, this is GOAT conversation, but he's not the greatest of all time. He's the ghost of all time because he has ghosted much of the WWE product over the last 3 years. Talking about how many times he has defended the championship, how many appearances and matches that he's had. But BC has some statistics for you. It may seem like Roman Reigns has not been around that much. It definitely seems that way, especially as of late. But you may be shocked at some of the numbers I have for you. And again, if you just don't like Roman, your prerogative, eye of the beholder. You're not right or wrong. BC's just opening up a long overdue discussion on this channel. Because no matter which side of the fence you're on, whether you love Roman or you can't stand him, you like him or you don't like him, you are standing in the island of relevancy, or you want to burn that island to the ground that it was founded upon. Whichever side of the fence you're on, you're calling Roman the GOAT. He's either the greatest of all time or he's the ghost of all time, because he's ghosting most of those 1,000 days as champion. He has ghosted most of those 1,000 days. So, which is right? BC has some staggering numbers for you guys, and I'm going to go over them. I'm going to compare this reign to Hulk Hogan's 1474, and you guys might be alarmed, stunned, shocked at what BC was able to find. And no matter which side of the island you're on it, or you're off of it, staring into the island, no matter which GOAT you call him, we are going to have this discussion in the most honest way imaginable. And hopefully when we come out of this discussion, we'll have more clarity. BC is going to open this discussion, give you all the facts that I have, and really keep this as honest as possible. You might want to grab a coffee or the beverage of your choice, kick up your feet, or just put in the earbuds, listen to this as a straight audio podcast, and do your errands, go shopping, play with the kids or the dogs. But this may take a minute, because this is going to be a thorough discussion on where Roman Reigns, now at over 1,000 days as champion, where does he truly stand with the fans? And are more and more fans by the week that are sticking around, that have not already left the product, are they starting to feel like this has become stale? It has been stale. I'm going to talk about all of it. That's your cold open teaser, guys. Also, we're going to touch up on Pat McAfee, because I have not talked to you guys all weekend. Last time was the live stream for Smackdown. What a wild stream that was. Thank you for all of you guys that tuned in for that. And I just made that one of the best streams ever, man. But the weekend, BC had a lot of business to catch up with. So we are going to discuss Pat McAfee. A lot of people upset with Pat because they think he took a cheap shot at AEW's attendance. Not so fast. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to have an alarming discussion on Phil Brooks maybe not moving tickets the way Tony Khan was hoping he was going to. In fact, Chicago, as of right now of this recording, still not even sold out for Punk's re-debut. We'll talk about it. And we're also going to discuss SmackDown's rating. I have it. You might be shocked at this number, man. A big number. And I'm going to tell you exactly what put it overboard. Kind of ties into one of the big subjects today. And BC has the new poster for Money in the Bank. I'm going to end the cold open teaser right now. I'm going to get a big swig of my coffee. Come on back. I'm going to debut the WWE poster for Money in the Bank this year. Wait till you see this poster. Damn! They went all out on this poster. Let's do this. There's no reason not to do this, so let's do this. Capiche? All right, unit, let's get right into it. On your way in, if you don't mind, as always, smash that up. Give it the old Batista bomb. I don't know why I always go to the Batista bomb, but I just I just like the Batista bomb, the like button. That's just what I do to all the people that I enjoy their content. I just Batista bomb the shit out of the like button. I appreciate that. Helps out the algorithm. And just as I promised in the cold open teaser, BC has the new poster for Money in the Bank. It involves Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, and I love the artwork. I love it, man. Check it out. BC has the, I think I'm the one breaking this to you guys, man, with the logo and everything. Check it out, man. Look at that. Look at that. Cody Rhodes is overcoming adversity and struggle. He really has earned it heading into Money in the Bank. I'm telling you guys right now, man. I mean, by the time he gets there, he'll have a broken arm 3 times in the same arm. His other shoulder will be knocked out of socket. And he will indeed be sitting down when he goes toe-to-toe. But not face-to-face with Brock. He'll have no legs, 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 no legs. This guy has no legs, he has no legs, no fucking legs, no damn legs. Why does he have no legs, no legs, no legs? Because Brock took his fucking legs. So anyway, he'll be going in there with no legs, no fucking arms. He doesn't give a shit. As long as he's got hair follicles, he's gonna go to war. He's got heart and hair follicles. That's all Cody Rhodes needs. He's gonna hit him with a crossroads with a couple of hair follicles, maybe some fingernail. Who the fuck knows? But Cody Rhodes is gonna find a way. He's gonna will himself out of that wheelchair, out of that sling, out of the casts and the boots, and he's gonna defeat Brock Lesnar. Anyway, I love the poster there, man. Good job, WWE. You really nailed it out of the park, and you're really selling the story. And it's really telling us that Cody has overcome adversity and struggle. Very good. Of course, that is not the actual poster. It's sad that I even have to say that. That was some great artwork or put together on a social doohickey machine. It was just making its rounds. And BC just thought it was great. So whoever came up with that was phenomenal. Love that. It really does tell the story of this stupid Super Cody that we're trying to do. Trying to recreate Super Cena. And as somebody who supports Cody Rhodes, man, ever since WrestleMania, it has fallen off big time. Of course he's getting the response. That's not what BC is. He's always going to get the response. Cody Rhodes is polarizing, just like Roman. Whether he's best for business right now, whether you like him or you don't like him, Roman's always going to be polarizing. He's always going to get a response. You know, Cody at this stage is getting more cheers than boos. That's awesome. That's because Cody is so damn good that even the botched booking has not completely taken his train off the tracks yet, thankfully. And I hope it doesn't happen for a while. But with this type of booking, it's only a matter of time. But that is not a real poster. We're just having some fun to kick off the podcast. Speaking of, I'll give you guys some more photos right now, man. Pat McAfee, before we get to the Roman Reigns discussion, Pat McAfee has taken a lot of heat. A lot of fans pissed off at Pat McAfee, especially AEW fans, because they feel he took some cheap shots at him. But I think Pat McAfee was just being Pat and just shooting the shit and just having honest discussion. Pat says this, and I quote, "Anytime you get a shot away from hard cam, you know what I mean? You can really see a lot of things. AEW found this out this weekend or whatever at one of their events. It's like 3/4 of an arena completely empty, says Pat McAfee about AEW. They don't want that photo out anywhere. Now, a lot of fans, so he's talking about how empty AEW is on the photos that he's looking at. Now, a lot of people tied that in with Double or Nothing, and I'll put up, I think this was this is the photo that was connected with Double or Nothing. This is the photo that was tied to this this report of Pat McAfee slamming AEW supposedly, and AEW fans being pissed off. But guys, it's not just Double or Nothing. AEW has had this problem for a while. We know that. They're trying to do too much too soon, and that's been Tony Khan's issue from day one. Rampage should have never been around until you solidified Dynamite. We all know that. WWE, or should I say WCW, learned their lesson first and foremost with Thunder. Do you guys remember Thunder? And Thunder helped to bring down Nitro over time. You take your eye off the ball, you start doing too much. You start wearing too many hats, your hands are in too many cookie jars, you only got 2 hands and you got 7 cookie jars. So Eric Bischoff found that out. WWE even found that out. I can fucking speak. Found that out the hard way when they brought Smackdown into the equation, and that's after decades of already being a viable company. But they had some hardships, big time, majorly. They had to bring in the cavalry, a lot of other masterminds, and thankfully it's worked for the most part over the last couple of decades. But, man, you talk about growing pains. And here AEW comes up with Rampage, and that has completely shit the bed for the most part. Viewer-wise, it's been downright harsh. And the network keeps preempting it and moving it to different nights because of playoffs or special events. Moving it in time slots. At one point, it was on at midnight. Another time, it was on at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So, what do? They triple down, and they bring in a new show called Collision on Saturday nights. Instead of keeping your eye on the ball, your biggest show, Wednesday Night Dynamite, while that show goes backwards into the 700,000 and 800,000s. Now, luckily this week, because of the big CM Punk announcement and a few other things, post Double or Nothing, they were able to pull in over 920 some odd, maybe 930, 940. They didn't hit 950, which is their old school top tier niche, but they were back into the 9s at least. Can they maintain that? We'll see. But the last couple of months have been hovering around 700,000 to 800,000 viewers. They went backwards drastically. And Tony Khan and AEW's answer to that is, let's add more programming. And you're seeing in the arenas, they can't sell them out. That's the sad part. So they're trying to do too much way too soon. They're acting like and Tony Khan has said this in many, many interviews. He says, we are real competition to WWE, and our fans love that. But do they? A lot of AEW fans say we don't want nothing to do with WWE. We're totally different. We're the alternative. It's not a war. Relax. And Tony Khan is speaking for his audience saying, no, it is, and they love it. Which is it, Tony? Do you understand your audience or do you not? And how are you a real war when your product is getting less than half of what Raw is getting, and Raw is already in the shitter at around 1.6 million viewers? But at least half of that is still 800,000 plus. There's been several weeks recently where AEW was in the 700s and low 800s. So you're not even consistently half of Raw's audience. So you can't call yourself true competition yet. Rampage is 1/7 of what SmackDown pulls in. So again, it's just a case of getting ahead of yourself before you establish yourself. Relax. RELAX. There's enough time. Have patience. Build your programming. Build your company star by star, like brick by brick. Leave no stone unturned. Leave no brick unturned. Instead, it's more. You show up to an AEW event, and guys, you're in for a 7-hour event. couple hours for a Dynamite, a couple hours for a Dark and an Elevation, 2 more hours for ROH, another hour just for the library that AEW's Tony Khan wants one day on a streaming service. He just wants content. So he's just distributing matches. That's what it's all about for Tony Khan. He's already looking down the line at a streaming service. So you can have thousands and thousands of hours of content available. Matches you've never seen before because they were in somewhere in Tulsa or some remote town in California or Montana, South Dakota, South Carolina, Massachusetts, down to Arizona. Some remote town or a local bingo hall. You never saw those matches. You got to get the streaming service. And these people are showing up for $10, or maybe they won these tickets for free on a radio station, and they're getting 7 hours of action, of bangers. That's too much, man. It's too much. And they're leaving by the time Rampage tapings take place, or they're leaving by the time ROH tapings have to take place, or they don't want to show up to Universal Studios to watch 5 hours of ROH or Elevation or Dark. So it was smart to cancel some of those shows because you can't do it, man. And now Collision is going to collide. They're going to have a collision with Rampage over who's the true number 2. And while your A show, your flagship Dynamite, is still just frailing in the winds. And that's the perfect wording. It's frail. It looks weak right now, Dynamite. It needs a lot of help. And adding more, it is clear the audience is not tuning in. In fact, so bad that, as Brandon Thurston for WrestleNomics recently put it, they're still, and let me get this actual number. As of the recording of this, the Collision, June 17th in Chicago, for the re-debut of CM Punk, still has over 2,000 tickets available. The current setup is only 10,000. Distributed is currently 8,000, and by the way, a lot of those will be for resale. And then you still have upfront tickets over 2,000, and we're 12 days away from the event. Now, AEW prides itself on those instant sellouts, right? You hear it throughout the community. AEW sold out in 10 seconds. But they're really struggling. Okay, interweb machine. Well, this is a CM Punk Collision debut. Debut of Collision, re-debut of Punk. And they still have thousands of tickets. Now, I don't doubt that it'll be sold out, or at least supposedly sold out. We don't know what the resale will look like and if those can truly be sold. But I have no doubt that they could push it in 12 days. But the fact that we're coming down to the wire and Punk isn't even moving that needle like that ticket-wise tells you a lot of fans are just done with it. So Pat McAfee talked about just how when you pull back that hard cam and you go to a camera C or D setup and you show too much, it's not good. And you see the exposed seats. And you kind of expose how hurting the business is right now, and AEW found that out. That's what Pat McAfee was saying, and a lot of AEW fans especially felt that was a shot that was unneeded. WWE goes to a lot of house shows, and they're the same way. There's been a lot of Raws and a lot of Smackdowns over the last 10 years that have had over a quarter of the seats emptied, and BC can actually justify those comments. That is correct. That is a true statement. I've shown you photos of Raw and Smackdown hurting big time, but I don't think Pat McAfee meant malice in the statement. I think that's just Pat being Pat. There was just no reason to just say AEW. He knows for damn sure he's been in those arenas where WWE has had a lot of empty seats. So I'm sure if Pat could go back, maybe he would say it a little differently, because I don't think there was malice in it. But it opened the discussion that I'm sure AEW did not want to have. You know, a lot of their shows, there's so many empty seats. And now they want to go on the road for live events. And those are really hard to watch because the venues are so small. And even those venues are not sold out. They call them house rules live events. So, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about Pat McAfee saying that. Should he have said, also, I can give you 1,000 instances of WWE, or was he just trying to protect WWE, throw AEW under the bus? Fuck it. Maybe nobody will make a big deal out of it, and it became a big deal. But that's the deal, guys, for that discussion. That's what I got for you. I don't think there was malice involved. Could he have worded it differently and not completely shaded AEW? Of course. The photos that have surfaced of the empty seats, it's not good. It's a horrible look for a company that is really they really want to show you that they're competing with the big boys like WWE. They got this new show coming up, and they can't even sell it out yet. That's a discussion on Pat McAfee. I wasn't able to talk about that on Friday. Now, also, while we're talking about like SmackDown, which I did a few times during that story, SmackDown's rating, and this is from also Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, because I personally have not gotten the final number, and the way that I usually get that number is just not getting the information. So I do have to go through Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. I usually like to go through a different source up front, and then I can confirm it with people like WrestleNomics. But right now I'm going to go straight through his research, his people, and he is saying that we can expect anywhere from a 2.53 to a 2.66 pending any significant preemptions, which is always possible and could easily bring that to a 2.3 to a 2.4. But if SmackDown remains at a 2.5 to 2.6, that is a drastic increase from the 2.1s, 2.2s that it's been sitting at, even 2.0 pluses to 2.1s. And the biggest growth was the Roman celebration at nearly 10%, just over 9%. In the P2s, 13% with the 18 to 49 key demo. So that's not that shocking that would be it, right? It's the pumped up main event segment. It's a supposed 1,000-day celebration. So people are like, what is WWE going to really do with this celebration? What's the segment? What do they have planned? It's the only storyline in WWE right now that people care about, the bloodline. So we shouldn't be too shocked. And it ties into my big story, which is the Roman Reigns discussion in the pro wrestling world. It's polarizing once again, and it's not all positive. But that SmackDown rating shows you that the two... I think people also wanted to see if LA Knight, because that was tucked in that second hour as well, right before that celebration. I think a lot of people were waiting to see if LA Knight finally gets a chance, or was he going to be shaded again? Was he totally going to be taking another L and kicked into a mud pile? Was he totally going to be smacked around again by Pinocchio Pussface, Schnoz McGee, Paul Levesque's booking? So a lot of people, I think, were tuned into that. Maybe they wanted to see if Zelina Vega was going to get a big moment over Lacey Evans and go catapult her to Money in the Bank. But it was that main event segment. BC was live with you guys for SmackDown. And I was really intrigued as to what they had planned, because they had ample time and you could tell they were going to set something big up. So SmackDown sees a big increase. 2.5 to 2.6 on the upfronts. If it goes down, I don't see it any less than a 2.48, I would say. If it even goes below a 2.5. So, now let's go into the big story. Roman Reigns. Let me set this up first of all, if you don't mind. Because it has to be set up. Whether you like the title victory or the retaining of the title on Sunday, April 2nd, WrestleMania Night 2. And if you're on the side of the fence that I think it was right for business, I think it was the right call, Cody needs more struggle and adversity, and it makes sense to have Roman have the 1,000 days. Okay, you're on that side. And then there's the other side of the fence. Cody had to win that title. Roman's title reign has finally hit a wall. Nothing against him. It just hit a wall. Naturally, you have to read the room, get the temperature of the room, take the title off of him. No matter which side of the fence you're on, that's your prerogative. Nobody's going to tell you if you're right or wrong in the way that you feel about it, your thought process behind it, what you feel and what your opinion is. But then there is the fact. The fact is that ever since Cody did not win the title Sunday, April 2nd, and Roman kept the titles, everything has been off in WWE and nothing makes sense, right? That is a fact. The fact is that nothing that Roman Reigns has done, and if you don't mind, let me put this right back up. There you go. NWO-NYC. Love that shit. We got so amplified, it just fucking fell off. Oh yeah! I also got the Macho Man too, man. That's the man right there. There's no amplified man if Macho Man Randy Savage didn't come before yours truly. Anyway, back to the facts. The fact is nothing Roman Reigns is doing right now. Nothing at all. Ever since WrestleMania, Night 2, Sunday, April 2nd, nothing he has done would call for a championship to be on him. After Mania, he literally went home for over a month and a half. Now that was April 2nd was that title defense. He didn't show back up to the end of May for Night of Champions. 2 months nearly. He sat home, drank margaritas, played with the kids, the dog, enjoyed some ocean water, who knows. Good for him, by the way. We're not shading that. If you can work that type of contract, have at it. The point is, you went home for nearly 2 months with the World Championship. When you came back at a show called Night of Champions, you didn't even defend your title. You went for tag titles. Has nothing to do with the world title or the Universal. And then, the big storyline is just the bloodline imploding. So they already are going with the implosion storyline, which again, doesn't call for a world title. Jimmy Uso isn't going to, nor should he be going for a world championship or a universal title. He's not going to win that, nor should he. Not even Solo Sikoa should be beating Roman Reigns for those titles. None of this bloodline should have a title involved. You could have done all of this epic storytelling and not weighed down or held hostage the championship. You didn't need the title on Roman to do anything we've seen with Roman Reigns since WrestleMania. And on the flip side with Cody Rhodes, he needed the title for every single aspect of what he's been doing. The next night, or on that Raw, I should say, after Mania, and Brock Lesnar turns on him, attacks him. For what reason? We don't have a reason. To this day, we're about to get the third match between the two. We don't know why Brock Lesnar attacked Cody Rhodes. We don't know why. And WWE doesn't know why. And they don't even... They don't even have the creativity or the time or the patience to come up with a good reason. So we're never going to get a reason. Ever. Of course, if you guys have been following along, Brock could not take on Roman anymore for the title. That was the stipulation in the last match. Roman won it. That's it. Brock has to wait till Roman drops the title, and then he can attack like a shark in the water. What did he do? He attacks Cody Rhodes without a championship. And we don't have a story. And a storyline without a purpose is like a car without an engine or a battery these days. It's 2023. I know your cars probably have fucking batteries. But a story without purpose, a story without meaning, a story without a plot, a story without that purpose is a car without an engine, a body without a heartbeat. The story is DOA. You don't have a story. And that's why a lot of fans cannot get behind Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar and anything they're doing. On paper, I wouldn't mind a Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar feud. Just tell it appropriately. Tell it properly. Tell it in a meaningful, amplified way that makes sense. Use logic and common sense. Put some creativity in there. Sprinkle in some time, some patience. A little bit of ingredients here and there, and you got a recipe for success. Instead, from the jump, they told you they didn't have a purpose. They were acting like Roman dropped the titles on Sunday, April 2nd. Roman goes away for months, and when he comes back, you have nothing planned with the actual title. And Cody actually needs the title because that's the whole purpose of the Brock feud. And he's going to all these towns, all these states. He's going to the UK. He's going to Puerto Rico, here in the States, without a title. Nothing made sense. It was almost like last second they just said, no, we're going to keep it on Roman. And they still went around about business as they thought they were going to if Cody won the championship. Nothing has made sense, right? That's a fact. So if you like the fact that Roman kept the title and Cody didn't get it because he needs more struggle and more adversity, or if you think it was the stupidest decision in the world, that's how you think about it. That's your preference. You're allowed your opinion. The fact is, nothing has made sense since. Nobody can tell you that anything has made sense since, I should say. Because nothing has made sense since. And we're struggling to just try to find answers out of nowhere, out of crevices of nothingness. We're trying to find answers where they don't lie. WWE has not planted the answers, and we're trying to find them. We're trying to find answers that are not there. That was a massive botch Sunday, April 2nd, is my point. That's a fact. You can like the decision still for your own reasoning. But to say that everything happening now, it should have been flip-flopped. Cody should have had the title, and Roman didn't need the title. And then you say, well, BC, then you wouldn't have had the 1,000-day celebration this past Friday. Guys, what did that have to do with the actual title? Nothing. That was the ploy to keep you there to the main event. I get it. But once the celebration happened, it was all just to give a new title. Why do we have another W? This is what I mean about the botch. You split the titles ahead of time, and you could have had Cody win the title he wanted, which was the WWE World Heavyweight anyway. Roman could have kept the Universal and collected his 1,000 days, no harm, no foul. But because they botched it, they had to make a new world title over on Raw, which everybody is laughing at. They're calling it a secondary runners-up participation trophy championship. So they had to make a new title over there because they botched at WrestleMania. And then they had to make a second one because he's carrying around 2 titles. Why now you have a third one on Raw. So they had to make they had to make 2 new titles. And we're all laughing at it. Most of us, if we don't find it so tragic, we can't laugh at it. What I'm saying is that one botch at WrestleMania has created a ripple effect. And then they tried to correct that right with another wrong. 2 wrongs don't make a right. And then a third wrong and a fourth wrong. And now the train is so far off the tracks, we don't know if it can be put back on. But if you go back and watch Friday night, nothing was about the championship. He got a new W, a fancy W title. And a lot of people are saying it's the same shit with different colors. Or not that far different than the black title that Paul Heyman's been carrying around for Roman. Slight tweaks. But they got to keep the big W in front because, like I always tell you guys, it's for marketing. It's a marketing ploy. They want you to go into the toy aisle at Target or Walmart and buy the toy with the big W because they know they're going to ship those championships to Major League Baseball, football, NFL, NHL hockey. They're going to ship it out to MMA fighters with a big victory. They're going to ship those out. And those teams, those individuals, those athletes, they're going to post pictures on their social with the championship, and it's going to be a big W. It's a marketing strategy for WWE. And then you're going to run to the toy aisle and buy those titles, those toy championships with the big W. It's all for marketing. And what did they do? They brought us another W championship. That was it. Everything else had to do with the bloodline imploding. Jimmy and Roman and their beef. Jay in the middle. Solo siding with Roman. None of that needs a title. None of it. It would have worked even better, as a matter of fact, if Roman was extra paranoid and wanted his title back so much, but after he rectifies the wrongs that are in-house, the wrongs that are within his bloodline, because he feels that is why he lost his championship and he's gone off the deep end. He's out there, man. He has short-circuited, right? That would be more reason for this infighting, this feud within the bloodline. He lost his title. He's willing to lose his family to get it back. And it starts with rectifying the wrongs in the bloodline. I think that story would have told itself even more properly. But the fact that he kept the titles and he's still over the top upset that the Usos didn't keep their titles, And then you got Cody doing his thing with Brock, and that doesn't make any sense after 3 months of doing that shit, or in the third month. So the fact remains that nothing has made sense since WrestleMania. And that easily, the fact is, whether you like it or not, I understand. The fact is, Cody should have walked out with that title. Screw the adversity, fuck the struggle. Let's call it what it is. Let's pretend that he struggled enough and had enough adversity if you don't think so. Because the alternative is all of these new titles. And it's a joke. Nobody can take it seriously. And nothing makes sense. So now you go to the aftermath of Roman keeping the title. We're starting to see all of these polarizing discussions in the wrestling world about Roman. It takes you back to before he turned heel and fans started going, yes, this is the Roman I can watch on TV. No longer get the fuck off my TV. Now it's this I can watch. This is fun, right? And a lot of us knew he would work better as a heel for himself and for the company, and we were right. And we, the audience, benefited from Roman as a heel. And the long title reign, most of us were okay with it. Right up to Mania, we were fine with it. But then he walked out with the title. And a lot of people, BC included, something just is off. And we know, like I just spent 10, 15, who knows how many minutes talking about how everything doesn't make sense since Mania. We know that's a big reason why everything feels off and why WWE is in such a flux and making such weird decisions and new titles and brand splits that they're not even honoring. The draft means nothing. They're still swapping people left and right. Nothing is going in a straight line. And a lot of people are pointing the finger, pointing the pens at Roman Reigns. How long are we going to honestly do this? Is 1,000 days really going to go to what we heard the rumors are, 1474, which is Hulk Hogan's? Which means not only is he going to WrestleMania 40 with the title, but you're telling me he's coming out of 40 still with the title to get Hulk Hogan's record, boot him from the number 3 spot, and take the third longest title reign of all time. Do they have him go for 2 and possibly the first spot? Is that why they really created the new title? They're going to have him literally keep it to the end of his career. Who knows? A lot of people are saying, I can't do this another day with this dude. Again, no matter which side of the tracks you're on, we're all calling him the GOAT for sure. Either you're calling him the greatest of all time or you're calling him the ghost of all time because he has ghosted most of those 1,000 days in that title reign. A lot of fans are saying we're celebrating 1,000 days, but how is that a celebration when he hasn't been there for the majority of the 1,000 days? That's pathetic and no reason to celebrate. Well, BC has a few numbers for you. Check this out. Roman Reigns has actually had 28 defenses in 33 months as champion. 28 defenses in 33 months. 32 WWE pay-per-views in that time frame. 32 pay-per-views, 28 defenses. That's actually not bad, guys. On top of that, 117 matches. 117 matches where he has walked out with that championship in the 33 months. Now, if you compare that to Hogan's 1,474-day reign, Hogan was successful in walking out with the title in 171 matches. 171 matches in 1,474 days as champion. To Roman's 117 matches in just over 1,000 days. So my point is he's on pace with at the bare minimum matching Hulk Hogan, if not more. We expect him to have more, but because of his new contract, he doesn't wrestle a lot anymore. A lot of that 117 was the first 2 years. The last year, we've seen that drastically reduce itself. So if he's going to remain champion for the next year to 2 years and beyond, this is where the discussion does come in. And I totally understand those that are against this. and saying this is no longer working, this is pathetic, this is not a title reign, 1,000 days my ass. I get it. But he did enough in the first 2 years to get him at $1.17 in that first 1,000 days. So technically, I'm just coming at you guys with some statistics, some stats, some numbers. He is on pace to get Hulk Hogan's 171 by 1474, if not beyond. If he keeps up at this pace recently, he will not even hit 150. So he would have to up his game a lot more. So that's where the conversation would kind of pick up. He would have to, if he keeps on this pace, then there's a real argument that this is not going to work with a lot of fans. But that is interesting numbers when you're comparing it to who we think WWE wants him to eclipse, Hulk Hogan. And I did hear that by many reputable people. Let's just say that. So if that's the case, he's got about $1.17 to Hogan's 171. But again, that was with 400 plus more days. So it's all about now what you're on pace for. Now, appearances. Roman has made a lot more appearances than you may think. The problem is it was in the first 2 years of the title defense. Recently, it is lowest in any world champion in history of WWE appearance-wise in the past 9 months alone. That's obviously drastically bad, and that's why this has become a polarizing topic once again. So, we have the topic of Roman Reigns. How much longer can this charade go on for? There is a big part of me. If there's, man, I mean, see, this is an honest conversation, man. This is you're getting raw, genuine thoughts here. The botch at WrestleMania was so catastrophic. I have been on the Roman bandwagon ever since he turned heel because I'm one of the dudes that, for the years I've had this channel, 5+ years, I've been calling for Roman to turn heel because I knew it would be good for everybody. So from day one, I've been down. Not ish. I've been down with it because I've been calling for it. And it's been phenomenal. And at Mania, I know I sound like a broken record. Most of us who know the wrestling business, we know that was the time to pass that title off and start something fresh and new. Go on your vacation for 2 months, come back, start the tag team title match, oddly, to get back at the Usos, start the Bloodline implosion, which doesn't need a title, and have Cody do some awesome stuff with that title, man. Have the Brock feud, set up some new challengers, some new big heels. And the botch was so big that I can't even back Roman like I used to. It just doesn't feel right. Of course he's going to be polarizing. He'll always be. Of course he'll bring in numbers. No question. But it's the old adage. Is it noise just for noise? Like a 50-50 reaction. Is it just, at least it's a reaction, like Vince would say? Or could you be getting a better reaction? For the years that Roman has been champion, I felt like it's been an electric atmosphere, mostly in the positive. Even if he's getting booed, it's a positive reaction, if that makes sense. Even Roman was asked recently, before Mania, by Ariel Helwani in a podcast. Ariel said, do you feel like can you sense the crowd has changed? And Roman said, and I quote, oh yeah, for sure. The temperature has absolutely changed in the room. Meaning now they're having fun. It's not get off my TV. It's, hey, it's good to have you. I'm going to boo the shit out of you because this is fun. Or I'm going to cheer the shit out of you because this is awesome. And you're one of the biggest stars right now in this company, in this industry. So, man, it's so cool. Roman's here. And Roman can sense that. The temperature in the room definitely changed. He told Ariel. So my point is, it's been fun the last few years. I know it's not fun to see people like Big E lose and then they have nothing for Big E. Finn Balor, Claudio, Cesaro, and so many others fall to the wayside, and WWE just didn't have anything for any of them afterwards. I get it, that sucks. But the title reign was epic. Phenomenal. And it was needed, man. Longer title reigns and done properly, for the most part anyway. It was needed. And at Mania, it needed to come off of him. Not just because BC wanted it. Not because wrestling fan Timmy and Joey didn't get their way. It's because you have to read the room. The temperature in the room, like Roman was supposedly reading the entire time. He read it wrong. At Mania, the temperature, the feel of the room was telling you, live, and all of us at home, or the majority of us, was telling you it's time to drop that title. And now we're having these conversations where, for a lot of fans, guys, a lot of fans, they're done with it. It's beyond stale. Roman is now coming to the ring, and they're literally telling you they're sickened by it. They want to change the fucking channel. They don't want to view it. Well, SmackDown's rating is showing you that if you did change your channel, enough people were in tune to it. Enough people wanted to see what was going on. But that's the bloodline. I mean, they've been the only good story for months. So again, that's not too shocking. What's going to happen after the bloodline implosion is where BC is like, wow, I thought they would do this a year from now. I'm surprised that they're going this quickly. That tells you WWE doesn't really have anything. But there are people that are just nauseous by Roman. That's my point. And you're starting to see these discussions pop up. There's this real, genuine dislike for Roman again. And we have not seen that since before the heel turn. I guess that's to sum up this conversation. It's the conversations of people that genuinely are done with Roman Reigns. And we haven't heard those conversations in the last 3 years, roughly. I'll give you a good piece here. This is from M. Gomez from Cage Side SB Nation. Not familiar with, but it's an interesting read. It's a good article. I'm not going to give you guys the entire read because that's for you to go to M. Gomez on SB Nation Cage Side's page and actually read the article in full. But I'm going to give you guys several paragraphs because it ties into this conversation. It's a very interesting read from this person's point of view, and it raises a lot of questions. So let me quote several paragraphs in this article by M. Gomez. He says, I've been watching wrestling since 1985, so to call Roman Reigns the greatest wrestler of all time might be a slight on my part to men like Harley Race and Strangler Lewis. But compared to Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Steve Austin, or any legend I've seen in the last 40 years, I absolutely put the head of the table at the top of the list. That's a stretch, but that's his prerogative. Reading on, and I quote, Reigns is as efficient a wrestler as Hogan and connects with the crowd, albeit negatively, in a way that only the Hulkster has. He's as masterful a storyteller as Bret Hart, while raising the value of everyone he works with in a way not seen since Ric Flair. And he's quickly becoming an attraction on par with Brock Lesnar or The Rock. Also, his gimmick as the tribal chief is as cool as the produce section at Costco. Now that you understand me better, I want to understand you better. Specifically, I want to know why some of you hate Roman Reigns so much. So much, in fact, that there's a Wikipedia entry dedicated to Roman Reigns and the reception of Roman Reigns in the persona. Whatever the reason, not long after the breakup of The Shield in 2014, there were demands that WWE turn Reigns heel. A lot of those demands were from BC, by the way. Then in 2020, the heavens opened up and Reigns finally gave everyone what they wanted. Yet some are still complaining. They don't like that he cheats to win or how he treats his family, calling him a bully. But that's what villains do. They cheat, manipulate people, and throw their weight around. A heel's job is to make you hate him. And in that respect, Reigns is doing a phenomenal job. People wanted to boo him. And he's giving them every reason to jeer him. And they're still upset. I don't get it. He's a part-timer who hijacked the world title, and now he barely wrestles. Now we come to perhaps the main issue folks have with Roman Reigns. So I must ask, why does his schedule bother you? In All Elite Wrestling, Maxwell Jacob Freeman has been the world champion since last November. He's wrestled 5 times since then, defending his title 3 times. Yet no one's calling out for Tony Khan to take the championship off MJF, who's cheated to win in all 3 of his title defenses. But I digress. Let's get back to Reigns. For those who take issue with Reigns' light schedule, how often does SmackDown come to your town? Does WWE even visit your city? Because unless the Blue Brand runs weekly shows at your local arena, I don't understand the problem. What are you missing? But if you can't make it to those shows, you can comfortably watch Reigns' next title defense at home on Peacock like everyone else, including your noble scribe. Oh, I get it. You think it's unfair to the rest of the talent that the part-timer gets to be WWE's leading man while the full-timers beneath him battle for scraps. I can understand that because it probably affects your favorite wrestler. Unfortunately, I can't relate since my other boy Gunther is killing it as the Intercontinental Champion. I could try to offer you a business explanation as to why WWE sees value in Reigns as champion, but I doubt that will provide much comfort. All I can suggest is to keep rooting for your guy, and hopefully he'll catch a break. Beyond that last point, I still don't get the hate for the great. If you wanted Reigns to be a bad guy, you got it. But now his heel tactics and brutish demeanor are an issue. And unless his schedule personally affects you, I don't get the fuss. So what is it? Why do you hate Roman Reigns? What should WWE do differently to make him more palatable to you? End quote. There's a little bit more to the article. You guys can check it out yourself. M. Gomez Sports. SB Nation, cage side seats. Not familiar, but interesting article because it ties into what we're talking about. And this is just the latest. I mean, this article was literally put up today, guys. 1 p.m. it says. EDT. So whatever that is in your time zone. But the point that these articles are being made, that tells you that we're starting to see more of it, man. It's becoming the old school polarizing Roman Reigns talk, where you're either really vividly against him or you're vividly with him, instead of just enjoying the work, which I feel most of us have been for the last several years. I think that's a step, major steps in the wrong direction. That's steps going backwards. So we have to be careful here. And it all stemmed from that WrestleMania loss. So this article is interesting. And as a little rebuttal, right? Because that's a prerogative, and a lot of you guys might feel the same exact way. But the say, unless his schedule personally affects you, I just don't get the fuss. It is a different day and age. As much as I love nostalgia, and what made Hulk Hogan and so many others so special is that they were used pretty sporadically. It is a different day and age. There is so many shows. There's a pay-per-view every month. Sometimes you have to make, let's just say this, you got to make sense at all times. For a show called Night of Champions, for instance, you might want your champion to defend the championship. You might not want him on vacation for nearly 2 full months before the Night of Champions. And as far as keeping the title over a guy like Cody, who was massively over at the time and everybody was waiting for that big monumental moment at Mania, instead of having Cody get that title, you keep it on Roman and then he goes away for 2 months. You don't hear about him or hear from him. You can kind of see why that would affect people's viewing of the product. Whatever happened to Roman Reigns? 1 week, okay, 2, 3, a full month, a month and a half, almost 2 months. Where's Roman? Are you really asking how that affects people watching the product? That's their world champion. They had to make a whole new championship for the other brand. A new runners-up title is what they created. Makes no sense. So, you could kind of You kind of see that. Now, you also saw it talk business-wise, right? This article talks about, I can explain business-wise why Roman has the championship, but that probably wouldn't do no good, meaning most people wouldn't want to hear about it. But let's talk business. As I aforementioned, you don't need the title on Roman for anything you're doing right now. Nothing. Everything he's done since WrestleMania, he does not need a title. He went away on a vacation for 2 months almost. Why would you need a title to go home on an almost 2 months vacation? And when you come back, you're in a tag team title match. You don't need a world title for that. And then after that, you're just in a bloodline implosion angle. Your whole family, you're feuding. You don't need a title for that. Nobody needs to see Roman and Jimmy for the Universal title. Nothing. Nothing would call for him having a championship after Mania. Everything Cody is doing calls for the championship. And who Cody is involved with, Brock Lesnar, everything he's doing would need Cody to have a title. So, business-wise, it really wouldn't affect it. Roman would still be polarizing, but I feel much more in a positive way. Polarizing more positively than polarizing negatively for so many. The ratings would still be there. The Bloodline is the only good storyline in WWE. Of course that would be there. Roman without a title is not going to drop ratings. Not with the angle that they have with the Bloodline. Just doesn't need a title. It's more about the Usos losing the respect and pissing off the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. Well, that would be more impactful, more amplified, if he feels that they cost him his world title, his Universal. And then it really adds the extra amplified layers that are needed in this implosion of this family feud. So if anything, I think it would be more interesting without the championship on Roman. It's interesting, man. We could probably go another entire hour on this Roman Reigns situation, but it's a situation now. I have not felt this temperature in the wrestling world. I have not heard and saw these type of articles and discussions being had since before he turned heel a few years ago. And that was a rough time. I'm starting to see that again. I'm starting to see a lot of people they've had enough of this title reign. Guys, if you made it this far, and if you don't mind, let me know how you feel about Roman's title reign. Do you want to see him hit 1474 at the bare minimum and hit Hulk Hogan's mark, which would take him well past WrestleMania 40 next year? Do you want to see him eclipse 1474? Because where's the ending of it? I don't know. They don't have anybody lined up. They don't. Cody was the guy. That was the moment. You're never going to have lightning in a bottle like that again. You could try it again at WrestleMania 40 with the same guy, Cody. You could try it with The Rock. You could try it with anybody. Rock, Braun Breaker, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You'll never get lightning in a bottle. You'll never have a place ready to explode like the way they were in Hollywood, LA. All of us around the world. The right time. In WWE, what they had planned after WrestleMania. Cody and Brock made sense to have Cody with the title. Roman's going home. Implosion with the Bloodline afterwards. Nothing needed the title on him. Everything made sense to do the title swap. It didn't happen. And nothing has been the same. And now we're starting to see Roman Reigns in the way that a lot of the fans feel about him. I'm starting to see the old school conversations and discussions creep up again. This is an article I just read to you guys that was just written today, or at least put out today. And I've been seeing it a lot more after Mania, and especially the last couple of weeks when people realize that at Night of Champions, Roman is not even defending his championship. It's Night of Champions. The guy's been gone for 2 months, and he's not defending the title. Makes sense. Or not so much. But everybody has a different way to feel about it, man. There's no doubt he is the GOAT. But he is the greatest of all time to you, or is he the ghost of all time? Are you not celebrating that 1,000 days? Because a lot of those days of that 1,000, they were ghosted. Interesting conversation, man. I thank you guys big time for allowing BC to spend the bulk of this podcast for this Monday, June 5th, 2023. A bulk of it shooting the shit with you guys about this, man, because it's going to be a heavy topic going forward And it's good to have this at least in our rearview mirror. At least we had the big heart-to-heart about it, right? That sit-down talk that we all have to, some of you guys don't even want to have this talk. You're done talking about Roman, but we had to, man. I'm glad we were able to do that today. Guys, appreciate you guys big time. Until next time, and there will be a next time. Think, be, live, amplified always. Top guy, I'm out. BC saying, check you.